like being right all the time.
You see, most monster movies begin with the monster getting loose, but in Jurassic Park, the movie begins with the company trying to convince everyone that nothing can go wrong. Before the T-Rex breaks through a fence, before the raptors learn how to open doors, before even the power goes out, the park has actually already failed. It fails in the opening scene when a worker is dragged into an enclosure while the people around him are unable to help. It also fails when John Hammond brings experts to his island, not to examine the risks honestly, but to be persuaded by a demonstration. And it fails when the security of an entire dinosaur theme park rests on a system that one resentful employee can shut down from a keyboard.
You didn't say the magic word.
Please! God damn it! Hate this hacker!
You see, we usually describe Jurassic Park as a warning about scientists playing God, and to be fair, the movie gives us that reading. Ian Malcolm famously tells Hammond that his scientists were so busy asking whether they could do something that they never stopped to ask whether they should.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
But that is only half the point. The deeper warning of Jurassic Park is not that human beings should never create something powerful. It is that powerful things become dangerous when the people in charge mistake a beautiful idea for a well-run system. The dinosaurs are not the real monsters of Jurassic Park. The monster is a company that treats safety as a marketing claim.
How'd you do this? I'll show you.
The question is not whether Jurassic Park is impressive, because obviously it is. The question is why a project this spectacular feels so precarious the moment anyone looks beneath the surface. And to answer that, we have to look at the first thing Hammond really builds. Not the park, but the pitch.
What the hell do you think you're doing in here? Hey, we were saving that!
For today, I guarantee it.
When Hammond invites Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, and Ian Malcolm to Isla Nublar, he says he needs experts to approve the park. That sounds pretty responsible. It sounds like he is finally submitting his creation to scrutiny. But watch what he actually does. He does not convene a safety review. He does not hand them operational reports. He does not ask them to inspect the containment systems, interview the staff, or test what happens when something fails. He stages an experience. There's the amber, the theatrical animation, the laboratory reveal, the smiling children watching a dinosaur hatch. Hammond is not asking, can this park safely exist? He is asking, isn't this awesome?
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That distinction is everything. A real safety review creates space for someone to say no. A pitch is designed to make no feel petty, joyless, even cruel. And Jurassic Park understands the emotional power of that pitch. Hammond is not presented as a cartoonish villain. He's charming, passionate. He genuinely loves what he has made here. That is why he is so dangerous. Hammond's dream is so sincere that he cannot understand why sincerity is not enough. When his visitors notice that the dinosaurs are not appearing on schedule, Hammond does not see a warning here. He sees a problem with customer satisfaction. He keeps trying to rescue the tour. He wants the experience to work.
Hello? Yes?
I really hate that man.
But a park is not safe because its owners care about it. A system is not safe because it looks impressive on opening day, and a founder's enthusiasm is not the same thing as accountability. The entire first act of Jurassic Park is about that confusion. Hammond thinks he has built a miracle. What he has actually built is a presentation that hides how much must go right for the miracle to continue. Once the pitch works, the details do not need to be examined as closely. The audience is already looking at the miracle. And no phrase captures that confidence better than the one Hammond repeats throughout the film.
From the government, and I've spent the last 5 years setting up a kind of biological preserve. Really spectacular, spared no expense.
The park will open with the basic tour you're about to take, and then other rides will come online 6 or 12 months after that. Absolutely spectacular design, spared no expense.
These will be your transports for the afternoon.
No drivers.
No drivers. But they're electric. They run on this track in the middle of the roadway here. Totally non-polluting, top of the line, spared no expense. The voice you're now hearing is Richard Kiley. We spared no expense.
So,
good?
Spared no expense.
You see, John Hammond's favorite line is spared no expense. He says it with pride. It is supposed to tell us that this park is not cheap, careless, or compromised. It is the phrase of a man who wants to be seen as generous. But spared no expense is not a safety plan. It's just a slogan. In fact, the movie quietly shows us how often Hammond uses spending as a substitute for responsibility. The park has electric fences, armed rangers, jeeps, cameras, a futuristic control room, genetic laboratories, automated tour vehicles. Every surface tells us that this is a state-of-the-art operation. And yet none of that matters once the system fails. Because the real question is never, how impressive are the things you bought? The real question is, what happens when the person you trusted makes a mistake, becomes overwhelmed, gets injured, acts selfishly, or simply is just not there? Jurassic Park is terrifying because it has no convincing answer. The fences work until the power goes out. The cars work until the road disappears. The computer system works until it is manipulated. The experts are present until they are separated. The emergency plan works until the people executing it are placed in danger. Every layer of safety assumes that the layer beneath it is functioning perfectly. That is not resilience. That is optimism with a budget. And the phrase spared no expense becomes darker every time Hammond says it because it reveals what he thinks safety means. Expensive looking things purchased before the problem begins. But safety is not something you buy once. It is the unglamorous work of preparing for failure over and over again. It is redundancy. It is communication. It is giving people authority to stop the system. It is assuming that a crisis will not arrive politely during business hours while every expert is standing in the same room. Jurassic Park has all the spectacle of safety. It has almost none of the humility. But this failure is not theoretical. The moment the rain begins, all of that expensive infrastructure meets a much simpler question. Who is actually responsible for keeping it running? And Jurassic Park has placed more power in one person than it can survive losing. So now we get to Dennis Nedry, who is the obvious villain of the park's collapse. He steals the dinosaur embryos, shuts down the security systems, disables the fences, and leaves everyone stranded while he tries to sell corporate secrets. He's selfish, reckless. He is absolutely responsible for what he does. But he is not the whole problem here. Nedry matters because he exposes how the park was actually designed.
You can run this whole park from this room with minimal staff for up to 3 days. You think that kind of automation is easy?
Think about what has to be true for his plan to work. One person can disable the security systems of the entire island. One person can prevent the people in the control room from easily restoring them. One person can turn off the fences that separate guests from lethal predators. And when the crisis begins, the people in charge do not have an independent system ready to take over. They have to call Nedry. The person who caused the catastrophe is also the same person whose knowledge they need to fix it. That is not just betrayal, it is a design failure. The park has made one employee into a single point of failure. A person whose absence, anger, or bad decision can place everybody else in danger. And the movie is especially sharp about the way powerful people react to that discovery. Hammond calls Nedry irresponsible. The other characters talk about how much money he cost them. They focus on his bad character because it is easier than asking a worse question. Why was the park ever built so that one person could bring it down? You see, blaming one bad employee is just more comforting. It means the system itself can remain innocent.
You did. You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
But Jurassic Park does not let the audience fully believe that. Nedry does not invent the park's fragility. He discovers it. He finds a company so eager to open that it has treated its own complexity like a private inconvenience. The machinery is so advanced that hardly anyone understands it. The people who do understand it are isolated. And the person at the top is just too invested in the dream to imagine that the dream itself could be structurally unsound. Nedry is the match, but Jurassic Park is the room full of gas. And you see here, Nedry triggers that collapse, but he does not explain why it spreads so completely. For that, we need to return to the idea Malcolm has been trying to force into the room since he arrived. Complex systems do not fail on schedule. And you see here, Ian Malcolm is often treated as the film's prophet. He is the one who explains chaos theory. He is the one who says life finds a way. And it is easy to hear that phrase as mystical. Nature will always defeat mankind. But the film's idea is more practical and more unsettling than that. Life finds a way means that complex systems do things you just did not plan for. The dinosaurs breed despite the safeguards. The raptors test the fences. The animals move through the park in ways the designers did not expect. Small decisions create larger consequences. The weather changes, the roads flood, the power system becomes unavailable at the worst possible moment. None of this requires magic. It only requires a system built by people who are overconfident about their ability to predict everything. And you see, Hammond thinks that because the park has rules, the park is controllable. But rules are not control. A sign does not stop a dinosaur. The genius of Jurassic Park is that the dinosaurs are not evil. They're not seeking revenge on humanity. They're not symbols of moral punishment. They're just animals. They're hungry, curious, territorial, frightened, and alive. That is precisely why they are terrifying. They do not need to hate people who built the park. They only need to behave according to the needs that the park's designers failed to take seriously. The park collapses because Hammond treats living creatures like attractions, employees like tools, and risk like an inconvenience that can be managed later. The dinosaurs merely refuse to cooperate with the brochure, and that brings us back to Hammond. He does not merely misunderstand the dinosaurs, he mistakes a living system for a collection of controllable features. The chaos is not outside his vision. It is the part of the vision he refuses to see.
Say again.
We have a T-Rex.
And the saddest thing about Hammond is that he wants to be remembered as a man who gave people wonder. And he does give them wonder. The first time we actually see that Brachiosaurus, the movie lets us share his achievement. Grant and Sattler are speechless. We, the audience, are speechless. For a moment, Hammond is right. This is extraordinary. But Jurassic Park asks whether wonder is enough to excuse the structure that created it. Hammond loves the idea of the park more than he loves the people inside it. That does not mean he wants anyone to die. He clearly doesn't. It just means that when the idea and the people come into conflict, he keeps protecting the idea. He downplays the danger. He dismisses Malcolm's objections. He talks about opening the park again even after the disaster has begun. He sees failure as a delay, an obstacle, a disappointing interruption to the dream. He cannot accept that the dream itself is the problem. That is why the film's ending matters so much. The survivors do not defeat the dinosaurs and restore order. Nobody repairs the park, actually. Nobody creates a better business plan. Nobody proves that the system can work after all. They just leave. The helicopter rises above Isla Nublar, and Hammond looks out at the animals below. The film gives him no triumphant final speech. There's no opportunity to promise that he will do better next time. It's just silence. Because some failures cannot be solved by trying harder. Sometimes the responsible thing is just to stop. Hammond's downfall is not that he wanted to create something extraordinary, it is that he believed good intentions and a spectacular idea could replace responsible design. That is why the film's ending refuses to give him one more chance to make it work.
Mr. Hammond, after careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park.
So have I.
Now, in conclusion, Jurassic Park is not really a story about why dinosaurs should stay extinct. It is a story about what happens when people build something enormous, complicated, and profitable and decide that confidence is the same as control. The film begins with a worker dying behind a steel gate and ends with the people at the top escaping by a helicopter. In between, it shows us every lie that made the disaster possible, the polished presentation, the expensive machinery, the founder's certainty, the weak safeguards, and the belief that one exceptional person can keep the whole thing under control. That is why the movie still feels so modern. The dinosaurs are not escaping a park. A company is escaping the consequences of its own decisions.
Clever girl.
And the lesson of Jurassic Park is not never create something powerful. It is this. If your plan only works when everyone is competent, loyal, available, calm, and in control, then you do not have a plan. You have a fantasy. Thanks for watching.